right, we got a huge couple of days of football coming up. Is it fair to say that both the Lions and Michigan have their biggest game of the season?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, Michigan-Ohio State's always the biggest game of the season.
Okay, that one's a no-brainer.
Yes. And Lions-Thanksgiving is always meaningful in some way, even if they're winless.
Yeah, which they usually
They're
are.
usually pretty close.
But looking at this game specifically, so the Lions are getting their second shot at the Packers. We both know how the first game went.
Yep.
We kind of brushed that off as, it was week 1. The Lions looked a lot better after that.
Yeah.
But there have been some concerning games since. So to me, it does feel like this game will make or break whether I think the Lions are a playoff team. What do you think?
I mean, they have to win this one.
Yeah.
They have to win it, not just to stay in the playoff race, but to stay in the division race. And they can't lose 2 games to the Packers. They just can't. And I feel like this is a prime position for them to be like, no, we're still here.
Yeah,
we're still here. Don't forget about us.
Yeah.
And they're so good at these revenge games too. And you know that first week just killed them inside, and they've had this game circled and circled and circled since then.
That's very true. This is like the typical Lions revenge game. I think we all, myself included, kind of expected that the Giants game would be like that coming off a loss vintage Lions game where they sort of bully a terrible team.
Yeah.
And that's not what we got. But when everybody's down on the Lions and they're going up against a team that beat them the last time they faced them, I mean, Dan Campbell has just thrived in these spots. So, okay, we know about the offensive line struggles. We know about the pass rush struggles. What to you is the key for the Lions as they host Green Bay?
I mean, you got to protect Jared Goff, and you got to run the ball. I mean, it's everything that happened to them in week 1 was about the offensive line.
Yeah.
And if they can't figure out how to protect Goff, we know what happens when that doesn't work. And if they can't establish a run, they can't get the passing game going. I mean, it's just fundamental football at this point for the Lions. Like, we know exactly what they want to do, and the Green Bay knows exactly what they want to do. The way to do it is to assert yourself in the trenches. They lost that battle in week 1, so they're going to have to win it now.
Yeah, I think it's 100% on the Lions to make the adjustments because the book is kind of out. Green Bay sort of laid the plan out. Minnesota followed it. The Eagles followed it to a T. And even the Giants somewhat were able to execute a little bit of that
very
plan.
last minute.
Yeah, exactly. So the Lions know that teams are going to try to pressure Goff, specifically up the middle against the interior of that offensive line. And their job is to find a way to give him enough time, whether that's getting the ball out quickly, whether it's just leaning on Jahmyr Gibbs again. I mean, he basically just saved their season the last game. So they need to find a way to make it work. Dan Campbell, I think, still trying to find his footing a little bit as a play caller. He's got a lot of balls that he's juggling right now. Defensively, they need Aiden Hutchinson to step up, man. Yeah. I know he had the game-ending sack. We were talking about this. But overall, the game, it just felt a little underwhelming from someone who you are building this entire defense around.
For sure. And I mean, of course he's getting chipped, and of course he's getting double teamed, but the best players find a way.
Micah Parsons does too, right?
The best players find a way,
yeah.
And especially in these big games, like you gotta show up and make more than one play.
Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. What's your prediction?
I think Lions win it, maybe a lower scoring game than we think. And don't forget, the Packers came in and killed the Lions on Thanksgiving a couple years ago. The Lions
got that one circled
also
too.
have that one circled. So, this is a big – and that was a huge game for the Packers that year. This is a similarly big game for Detroit. They have to win it. I think they come out with a victory.
Yeah, I think the Lions absolutely have to win this to have any hope at the division. I mean, we're talking about playoff. Yes, the most important thing is to make the playoffs, but really – if you want to have a chance to win the Super Bowl, realistically, you need to win your division so that you're not playing potentially 4 games, all of them away from home, to try to win the Super Bowl. So
for sure.
I do, against some of my better judgment, think that the Lions are going to find a way to win this game. The last couple weeks have been so ugly, but just the full body of work for Dan Campbell, for Brad Holmes' teams, has been that they find a way to get the job done.
Yep.
Okay, a team that's facing a little bit of a steeper uphill climb, it feels like, is Michigan.
Yep.
Everything is on the line here. I mean, there is no black and white about this situation. Michigan, if they win, they will most likely make the playoff. If they lose, they're for sure out. So what is your early feel on this game?
I mean, my early feel is that it's a rivalry game, and you just never know. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we didn't think Michigan would had any shot last year.
No,
they pulled it
zero.
out. They're obviously much better than they were last year, but Ohio State is maybe better than they were last year. So, and you keep thinking Ryan Day is going to figure out to just do the things that they're good at when they play Michigan. So maybe they've finally actually just run their normal system against Michigan. But what a spot for Bryce Underwood in his freshman year. A chance to make the playoff, beat your biggest rival. I'm excited to see him try.
Yeah. Freezing cold temperatures, chance of some snow flurries. I think that obviously works in Michigan's favor. Ryan Day, like you said, it's just when is it finally going to be the year that he realizes what his strengths are and just uses them to beat Michigan? I have to think that after last year, it's this year, right?
It has to be.
Ryan Day has been facing so much pressure about his job because of the games he's lost to Michigan. I think winning the national championship last year kind of took that monkey off his back a little bit. But Michigan, man, if they've got that mental edge, all you need is a couple early breaks. And, if they can find a way to get a lead early, if the running game is cooking, they got a shot,
The question for you, though, if Michigan loses to Ohio State in close or blowout fashion, how warm is the Sharon Moore coaching seat?
I don't think he is going to be facing any pressure, honestly. If Michigan had dropped any of the 9 games that they won, I think he would have been in a little bit of trouble just because they didn't win any of the. If they lose to Ohio State, they would have gone 0-3 in all of their big games. So 9-3 with as young of a team with a true freshman quarterback, I feel like was the baseline. Like it was the bare minimum that he could do and not feel heat. But it does turn up the heat a little bit in next season because I don't think that you can be the head coach at Michigan in this era and miss the playoff 3 years in a row. That's not the standard here. That's not the standard for a team that's spending a lot in NIL. So I think it's a huge game, not just for Michigan this season, but sort of for the trajectory of the program. So
even in a great competitive game or a win, like what a building block for Bryce Underwood heading into his
for
next
sure.
season.
So huge weekend of football coming up.